Hey Scott,
What's up, Davin?
how are we doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Little chilly, but I'm doing well.
Well, it is winter time,
I
but
know. Well,
you look
that's
nice
true.
and warm in what I assume is your Talent Champion Council sweatshirt,
It
right?
is. It is
Yeah, baby.
very comfy, cozy. These
I
are
need to
prized
get
possessions.
I need to get myself one of those. Those are
We'll hook
fantastic.
you up. We'll hook you up.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here today. I want to address those that are watching right now. Today, I'm excited. We are back here on the Finding Purpose Livecast, Season 2, Episode 2. And we're here with my new friend, Scott MacGregor. He is the founder and CEO of Something New, founder and CEO of the Talent Champion Council, which you just heard us mention, which is really exciting. Can't wait to talk about that. And then three-time author of the Standing O series, which is an amazing series of books. Love your work, Scott. We're going to talk about that in a minute, but I can't thank you enough. You got a lot of things going on. Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to share with our listeners and viewers today.
I am honored and very excited to be here. So thank you very much for the invite.
Absolutely, absolutely. I got to get this out because I know I shared it on LinkedIn. I know people hear me say it, but I can't say it enough. I've said before that one of the most impactful things that any person, any leader can do is to choose to be the spotlight versus trying to be in the spotlight. And I really believe that your work is the embodiment of that statement. When I read your books, the Standing O series, it really is all of these stories of all of these amazing other people and their perspectives. And so much of it is purpose-driven work, not to mention the two companies and organizations that you founded, which also have a purpose component to it. So I really want to get at the heart as we talk today behind what drives Scott. But before we do
Right.
that, tell us a little bit about who you are, your story, Something New, the Talent Champion Council, your books, your work, wherever you want to begin. Let's introduce Scott to the world.
So I'm a bit of a talent geek. So even back in my days when I was a chief revenue officer, I realized that people are really the engine for any company. It's not the product, it's not the process, it's always the people. So I've been hyper focused on team building and culture and putting people over everything really since I've been in business, and it's paid off, very well to kind of have that perspective. Um, you know why a lot of these things have been constructed the way that they're constructed probably goes back to my childhood. I grew up, pretty poor in an affluent town, which was a very strange way to grow up. But I was surrounded by successful people. I watched what they did. I had a lot of people that helped lift me up and put me kind of on equal ground with them and helped me to be successful. And so that kind of gave me the energy and the motivation and the desire to always give back. And when I started Something New, um, that was really the most important piece, was to make sure that there was a give back component. And that's really where Something Good came in, which is kind of our philanthropic arm. That led into the Standing O series because I was trying to figure out, as a bootstrap startup, how do I give back when I can't write a big check? So I said, well, what are my assets? And my assets were friends like yourself that were incredibly successful entrepreneurs or CEOs or Olympians or pro athletes, best-selling authors. And I said, well, I've got a bunch of friends like that are incredibly interesting. Why don't I ask them to write a chapter in a book of gratitude for a life lesson that they learned, and then I'll give all the proceeds to charity. And it worked once, so I'm not that bright. I said, if it worked once, it'll probably work again. I can scare up another 50 some odd friends. So we did it again, and then we did it a third time. And we'll keep going until until I run out of friends, I guess.
Well, I don't think there'll be a shortage of friends in your future, because you have truly done a tremendous job of building relationships based off of purpose. And what you mentioned, some things there that are so foundational that I want to highlight. You had talked about, you were trying to figure out, you knew what your why was, and we talk about this. There's a difference between purpose and why, right? Purpose is what your gifts, talents, abilities are that you can contribute to the needs around you, the greater betterment of society. It's your reason for being. It's why you're here. It's what you do. Your why is what motivates you to actually do that, to get up out of bed and jump into your day. It's your reason for doing. And you just really highlighted both of those. So you talked about, you knew actually kind of what your motivation was even before the purpose. It was like, I know what motivates me, and now I need to go figure out how to make that impact. Okay, what can I do? And you kind of came back to your purpose, and you're like, well, I can do this. I can do this. What are my assets? What are my resources? How can I bring those together? And you did all of that, and you used them all for a greater purpose to then obviously contribute to a greater cause and to society. Talk to us about what that cause is. So you have all of these books, you have all of these people contributing to it, you have all of these friends that you've surrounded yourself with, and you have two companies that you basically founded in the last few years. Where is all of this contribution going? What is the impact it's flowing towards?
It's all, I think, wrapped around a concept that I constantly go back to, which is to try to be a ring in the ripple. So I think a lot of us that are, smaller entrepreneurs, so something new is 6 years old. The Talent Champions Council is all of 30 days old. And I think a lot of people really feel maybe a little bit disenfranchised, or that might not be the right word, but they feel like they don't have power to really impact change. And I really think it's like that pebble that you throw into the water. It's the ripple effect that makes a difference. So, I really want to highlight those things that we do to give back, because my hope is that we inspire just one other person, one other company, and that has that ripple effect. So we put out what we call a ripple report every year. I saw something that Blake Mycoskie, who is the founder of Tom's, puts out, which was really kind of encapsulating all of the good that they did. It was so inspiring. I said, well, why don't we do that? I mean, we're a small company, but we could do the same thing and hopefully inspire other people. So we put out, and we'll put it out soon, our second, a ripple report that kind of highlights the things that we do. And it's not to beat our chest and say, look at us, which for a long time, I really felt like you do good things because it's the right thing to do, not to get the glory. But I realized that it's hard to inspire people when they don't know what you're doing. And it's something we're so passionate about that we want the world to know. Literally, if I'm asked to be on a podcast and they won't give me a little bit of airtime to talk about something good and giving back, then I just choose not to do it, because it's important to me, because I think there is a chance that I'm going to inspire somebody else.
That's awesome. And I love that you're putting the purpose of everything that you're doing first, and saying, hey, if you're going to have me on to talk, and it's great, you might want to talk about the Standing O book series, or you might want to talk about, the Talent Champion Council, or you might want to talk about something new. You're saying we could talk about all that, but we can't talk about all of that if we don't talk about something good, which is the actual core purpose behind all of this work to begin with. So tell us about something good specifically.
Yeah, so something good is like an umbrella term that goes over kind of all the things that we do to give back. So whether that's giving out bags, we call them something good bags to the homeless, which I've been doing for 6 years, and I've given hundreds and hundreds of bags out because it was another one of those things where I was traveling, into New York City and into Boston, and into big cities where there's a substantial homeless population. And I thought, you know what, why don't I give back? So literally put these packages together, and like a Sherpa would would schlep everything to whatever city I was going to and give them out, and have conversations with those folks and shake their hand, ask them their name, and which I think they got more value out of being humanized than they did from probably the food and the toiletries and things like that we put in the bags. So something good is, it's the bags that we give out to the homeless, it's the charities that we support, it's the books that we write, it's championing people over everything. So it's kind of an umbrella term that we use in under something new. So something new is the revenue generating engine that allows us to give back, which gives me tremendous motivation to grow that unusual recruiting and advisory service that we provide through something new.
Awesome. Awesome. And I love that phrase, people over everything. And I remember the very first time I saw it, and I'm kind of going, because everyone's like, Davin, you're always talking about purpose. Isn't it purpose over everything? And I'm going, no, it really is people over everything, because at the end of the day, without people, there is no purpose. Purpose at its root cause is really about the impact to people. If what you're doing doesn't positively impact people, or doesn't serve people, or make people's lives better in some way, then it's not really a purpose. In fact, Patrick Lencioni, I love his work. He's always saying that the purpose of every organization is to improve the quality of human life in some way. So it really is, at the end of the day, it is about people, and it's people over everything else. So when did you have that light bulb moment, like this phrase, you know what, people over everything, we're going to champion in that? And I love it. I've seen it on your collateral where you have people and then a line and then everything. I love that logo that you have out there. When was that?
Sounds like you want a t-shirt, Davin.
I'm just saying, if a t-shirt happens to show up at our office,
right,
along with that sweatshirt, we'll put it to good use, but I'm not begging. But where did that phrase come from? When did the light bulb come off and you were like, people over everything? This is what we're going to hang our hat on.
Yeah. Very early on, and it was a little bit different. So our core client is typically a hyper-growth startup. So we're dealing with the CEO. And in dealing with hundreds and hundreds of CEOs over the last 6 years, I realized that oftentimes, not only the CEO, but also the executive leadership teams, they were focused on product and process and things like that, not realizing that what was going to make or break their company was people. And I would have people say, well, Apple is successful because they design simplistic, elegant devices that we all love to use, but who do we think created those things? There's no product, service, process that's in place that wasn't created by a person. So I believe that for organizations to be successful, you have to have a mindset of people over everything. If you think that you're going to be successful because you have the best product or service, you're ultimately probably going to lose in the end. It's all about people. It always has been, and I think it always will be.
That is an absolutely true statement. And I know that there's some that are listening to this and some that will listen to this. They'll say, yeah, this is old hat. We all know it's about people. Everyone's talking about people. But at the end of the day, you got to make money, because if you don't make money, your company doesn't exist, and then you can't support your people. And And I get it. There's these competing mindsets, right? We've talked about it: purpose, people, process, performance, profit. There's a natural order, but as business leaders, we tend to gravitate more towards process, performance, and profit, and lose sight of people and ultimately purpose. What would you say to those leaders that are out there that, because listen, we're all guilty of it. Every single one of us, even I'm sure you have, I know I have.
Sure.
We are all guilty of gravitating towards the process, performance, and profitability pieces of what we're doing. Even those of us who have a people over everything mindset and a purpose-driven mindset, what would you say to those that are saying, yeah, I know this stuff, but, or yeah, but at the end of the day, how do you get them to actually lead with a people over everything mindset, no matter
Yep.
what?
So I think one of the root causes is that people are messy by nature, and products and process is not as messy. So I understand why people gravitate more there than they do to the people side. But at the end of the day, when I'm talking to a CEO, I just use logic, really. So if I'm speaking to a CEO and I ask them, what's your biggest expense as an organization? The answer is labor. What's labor? Labor is people. So, okay, so it's your biggest expense. And what's the biggest thing that is going to determine your success or your failure? Again, it's people. Yet the third question typically that I ask is, how often do you and your executive leadership team sit down and talk about your talent strategy? That answer, horrifyingly enough, is almost never, which is insane, because it's your number one expense, it's your number one predictor of success or failure. So I think when you really talk through the logic, and we try to bring in, so through the Talent Champions Council, which is a different business, but one of the things we've done there is we've brought in amazing people from the world of professional sports and the military who do talent exceptionally well, who realize that it's talent that wins you championships. Corporate America is a little bit behind the military and professional athletics. So we try to bring those best practices in just to highlight how important it is.
That is such a great visual. I've never, I mean, I've always known it, but I've never actually drawn that correlation before. Of, we know that people are a company's greatest expense line. They're also their greatest predictor of success. And yet we often spend the least amount of time actually developing that portion of our business. I think about the aha I had as you were saying that. I was thinking about just even on a personal level, right? Because every leader on here, you're still a human being, no matter what size your company it is. And you have things that, in the past, whether it was searching for, a better rate on your mortgage or your car insurance or any of those things, we look at our household budgets, our household P&Ls. And it's like, oh, our largest line often is our mortgage or house payment, unless it's paid off or whatever the case is. And people, I just thought about this as you said this, because it's probably a true statement. I would venture to say that there are leaders out there that have spent more time in the last year evaluating how to get a better rate on their mortgage, on their greatest expense line at home, than they did on how to help develop their people, their greatest expense line at work.
Right. It's an epidemic. I mean, if you look at most organizations, and if everyone was being honest, if you took the C-suites, if you took finance, IT, sales and marketing, HR, if you took all of that and you stack ranked who has the most power, guess who's at the bottom? HR, all the time. All the time. So I blame, a lot of it. HR sometimes is blamed for a lot of the issues that people have, whether it's, turnover or poor onboarding or talent acquisition issues. I really say it's the CEO. The CEO has to give that power to HR. And unfortunately, the Jack Welches of the world who said HR is our most important department, or the modern day, like Gary Vaynerchuk says, his number two is Claude Silver. Claude Silver is his chief heart officer. She's the head of people at VaynerMedia. Why are they winning? Because they put people first, and
That's right.
because he gives power to the people that can affect the most change and the most positive results within his company.
That's exactly right. In fact, and I know that the tagline that was developed for Talent Champion Council is that people are the greatest assets of an organization. I would offer and take that one step further, because sometimes that word asset can become transactional, right?
Sure.
People are not just the greatest asset of your organization; they're the greatest ambassadors and effectors of your purpose as a company. Right? They're
100%.
the
I love it.
greatest ambassadors of your purpose.
Yeah.
They're the greatest advancers of your purpose.
Yep.
They are literally the deciding factor on how much impact your organization can have on this world. And so if we treat people like they're a number or a cog in our company, or and human resource, I've never even liked the term human resources, to be honest with you, because it's just kind of like, well, here's some resources to help the company, and they're human beings, they're a commodity. That's no, right? They're people. And you forgot that when you started your company had this purpose that it set out for. Whatever product, service, or offering it is that you had, you said, hey, here's what we are going to create, and it's going to change the world, or it's going to positively impact society, or maybe it's already been developed and it's already out there, but we're going to do it better or faster or cheaper, whatever it is. There was a purpose that every company set out sail for, and they invited people to come along board and say, come join us in this impact that we're going to create. And they got people bought into the purpose, and they became the greatest ambassadors of that. And that's how companies grow. But all too often we forget that, and we start focusing on process and product and performance and profit. And then people become a cog in that machine. And we forget to champion the greatest thing that we have in our organizations, which is our people, which are the greatest champions of our purpose.
100%. Well said. Well said. I'm glad this is being recorded, because I'm going to take a snippet of that and definitely repurpose that.
Oh, well, my pleasure. But it's something that I could tell you're passionate about. It's something that I know I'm passionate about. I think that's why we connected so well when we connected a while back. And I think it's what I like so much about this Talent Champion Council that you have developed. So I want to switch gears a little bit here and talk a little bit about that, because I feel like what you are starting, you talked about the ripple effect earlier. I feel like you're starting this ripple through the next generation of leaders that are out there, to not just think about HR differently, but to think about their businesses completely different, and the role that talent plays in championing their purpose. So talk to us about the Talent Champion Council, what it's all about, and ultimately what the vision is for it.
Yep. So I had a little bit of an epiphany moment. My wife and I were driving back from Charleston, South Carolina, and we were just talking about the business, and I love the business of something new. We have an advisory service where we help companies with building the foundational elements for talent acquisition, onboarding, and retention. And I love that business, and I also love the recruiting business that we do. But we can only impact so many companies a year. It's super high touch, so we can only work with so many companies in a given year. So I was trying to figure out, what can I do to impact more people and also have a bigger give back component. And it hit me, why don't I start a membership community focused on talent strategy? That's not just for HR, it's for CEOs, it's for CFOs, it's for CIOs, it's for a 20-year-old kid who wants to advance his career. It's for anybody who wants to, in some way, build their career by lifting other people up and figuring out how do I do that? How do I learn how to build a great culture? How do I learn how to do talent acquisition the right way? How do we onboard employees the right way? How do we retain them? So we really built the Talent Champions Council to be a large membership community where we could all get educated and we could all collaborate. So there are phenomenal networking opportunities within what we call the TCC, but also we're trying to bring really unique content. Part of that is something that I talked about earlier. It's bringing in non-traditional people champions to talk about talent strategy. So, for instance, we just did a master class with Dick Vermeil. So, Dick Vermeil won a Super Bowl with the Rams. He's the only person ever to win Coach of the Year at the high school level, junior college, and pro level. And the three teams that he took over in the NFL were under 500 when he took them over. And within 3 years, he got them to the playoffs. So that sounds like a guy who knows how to build a team and build a culture. So we had Coach Vermeil come on and do a master class on team building and culture. We have a Navy SEAL, Mike Sorelli, coming on and talking about his book, The Talent War, and talking about how special operations looks at people and has and their talent strategy. So we're trying to bring in disciplines that you might not think of. But I think, you know, when the book Moneyball came out, the Michael Lewis book about Billy Beane, I think people started to see, oh, okay, if we look a little bit deeper, if we just don't look at surface level, maybe we can evaluate talent differently. And you can definitely take those things that they learned early on in doing some of the things that they did with the A's, and you can apply that to your business to make it more successful. So we just want to give a tremendous amount of unique content and great networking opportunities to our community, which is, I mean, we're 30 days in and we have people literally from all over the world. We have Olympians, we have pro athletes, we have tons of Navy SEALs, Green Berets, CEOs, entrepreneurs, you know, people that are early on in their career that are contributing to what we hope becomes a real movement.
Awesome. Well, it's been inspiring to watch you pull that together. And it's been inspiring to see all of these different people from different backgrounds and from all parts of the world and, you know, all different levels of academia and accomplishment really come together and say, we want to be a part of something that is going to help people see talent differently and help champion that word in the way it was always designed to be championed, by putting people over everything and bringing together resources to truly help people become who they were created to be so they can operate at the highest point of their potential to fulfill the purpose that they were created for. It has been incredible to watch, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. I'm grateful that you put it together, and I'm excited for some of the things that I know that are upcoming that you have out there. I don't want to pull, spill the beans on anything, literally. But for those who want to learn more about the Talent Champion Council and how they can get involved and how they can tap into all these resources to help make them a better leader, to help make their organizations better, and how they can really help unleash the potential that's within the teams that they're a part of, where could they find that information?
Yeah, go to talentchampionscouncil.com. But really, one of the things that we did, I initially thought, you know what, I can put this content together and I could give it out for free. But there were two things that prevented me from doing that. Number one is I don't believe that people value things that they get for free. The second was the give back component was really important to me. And I realized nothing coming in, nothing going out. So we chose to look for the good project to support. And then we made a decision to price the Talent Champions Council at a ridiculously low price. So it's $199 and that's not $199 a month. It's $199 a year. And you're in master classes with Kara Golden, CEO of Hint, Claude Silver, Chief Heart Officer of VaynerMedia, Dick Vermeil, Navy SEALs. I mean, the list goes on and on. Plus, you're getting content on a daily basis, and you're able to interact with those folks. So, we made that choice to price it low, but also as we scale, to be able to give a substantial amount back to Ann Kibitsky and the Look for the Good project, which I'm super passionate about.
So I know that you and I talked a little bit about that project. Real quickly, share about that project and the impact that this give back is going to have.
So any charity that we support, we try to support. There are amazing organizations out there, but we always choose ones that are flying under the radar that really can benefit from a big spotlight being put on them, and also from the money that we can donate. So Ann Kibitsky is a good friend of mine. She was in the original Standing O, and she created an organization called the Look for the Good Project, which goes into schools and has things like a gratitude spot. So literally a sticker on the ground where when the kids get to that sticker, they talk about something that they're grateful for. The program that she's put together is a game changer from an anti-bullying perspective to giving gratitude, and it's incredibly affordable. So it's about $500 to $850, funds an entire school. I just think the work that they're doing with our kids that are younger kids in school is just incredible. So her charity was the one that we chose for Standing O Encore, which is the second book. And then we, along with our advisory board, took a look at a whole bunch of organizations to support through the Talent Champions Council, and we picked the Look for the Good project.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, Scott, I want to thank you so much for a few things. One, I love that you use the word spotlight again, because really, I truly mean it. You truly do choose to be the spotlight for others rather than trying to be in the spotlight. And that's a lesson that I think that every one of us, no matter what you've accomplished or what you're trying to accomplish, can learn, is to consistently try to be the spotlight for others rather than trying to put yourself in it. I thank you for bringing together this incredible group of different talent champions, leaders, people who are truly utilizing the gifts, talents, and abilities and insights that they have gotten and built through this world to make a greater impact to society. I'm excited to be a part of it. And just overall, man, your heart. I just love your heart truly for people over everything. It's not just a phrase, you're living it out in all you do. So thank you for being a champion of purpose, a champion of people, and a champion of just business as a force for good in this world that so desperately needs it.
No, I appreciate you giving me the forum to talk about this stuff that I'm wildly passionate about. And, it's important that we talk about the things that mean the most to us, because I think we all want to leave a legacy. And that certainly is the legacy that I want to leave.
Well, I know that you're already leaving it. So as we wrap up here, I want to give you the last word here. What is one thing you want to say to those watching this today that is going to help them move closer to this mindset of truly living out people over everything? Not just a phrase that sounds good or a message on a t-shirt, but every day waking up with, no matter what today, I'm going to choose people over everything else.
I think one of the things that gets missed a lot is how fun it is when you do that. So I've been asked before, well, why do you do this? Why do you do that? And a lot of the answer is it's fun. It's fun to lift other people up and put them in the spotlight. It's fun to make strategic introductions that change somebody's life. It's fun to mentor somebody. It's fun to give back to causes that are meaningful that can change the world. It's just fun. It's a fun way to live. And I think that gets lost. It sounds so simple, and it is simple, but that's what fuels me. It's so much fun. There's nothing better than getting off the phone and knowing I just delivered value to somebody. I put their needs before mine. So I think of it like Christmas gifts. Would you rather get a gift or give a gift? I would rather give a gift and see the smile on somebody's face and the impact that it can make. So it's just it's fun. I think when you start doing it as a practice, it has a domino effect, and you're just like, wow, I want more, I want more, I want more.
That's exactly right. And I think every others focused person that is still on this call and watching this live just felt that light in their heart, just kind of because they get that once you start getting on that, you want more of it. You should. The book The Go Giver was one of the best books that has impacted my life, and you, sir, are definitely a go giver. So thank you for continuing to give so much of yourself to others, to those around you, to this world. Really grateful for your work, and thank you for taking time to be with us here on this live cast.
I appreciate it. Thanks, Davin.
Thanks, Scott. We'll see you soon. And for those of you who are listening today, once again, here with Scott MacGregor, the founder and CEO of Something New, the founder of the Talent Champion Council, and 3-time author of the Standing O series. Great series of books with tons and tons of contributions from talent champions out there and influencers. So tune in next time for the next episode of the Finding Purpose Livecast. Scott, thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, guys. We good?
We clear?
Thanks, Davin. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was really